What's up, fellas? Harry with Pro Schmo Bets. Here we go. UFC Fight Night. Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. And I'm glad I'm getting to this fight card early. I'm glad my community gets to hear our takes, our picks, our expertise on this, because you have the entire Asia Pacific pumping all the Chinese fighter lines right now. All the cash, all the parlays on Asian fighters. Yan Xiaonan, the stellar Yan Xiaonan over Tabitha Ricci. And then you have the Americans, of course, the West, doing the dumbest shit in the world, thinking that Deiveson Figueiredo will be in this double champ now, all of a sudden, at 37 years of age. 37 years of age, double champ. Deiveson Figueiredo winning this fight over Petr Yan. This is how the casinos family make money. You got the Asia Pacific and you got the West breaking even, and then we got to find who's busting who. Right? So clearly, these lines are getting pumped. Figueiredo's getting all this action. Yan's getting all this action. Yan's busting. Richie's submitting her. Petr Yan's winning. So what Asian fighter is going to bust people's parlay so that the casino families make money? And so we got to find the weakest links, right? I believe this card is steamed out. Out with the old, in with the new. All right, so I believe all the Asian prospects on the early prelims will be cashing for people. And as we move up towards the fight card, we'll see fighters like Kenan Song versus Muslim Salikov, right? Out. Yan Xiaonan, out. All right, and we're getting into this fight card right away. We got Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Folks, hear me out on this. Let's save the Western Hemisphere. All right, so it takes a special type of fighter, athlete, to earn double champ. Up until Henry Cejudo, there were 4. Okay, Henry Cejudo, flyweight to bantamweight, Olympic champion, and one of the best fighters ever in the sport. Okay, I mean, you got admiration from folks like DJ on Henry Cejudo for a reason. You got to watch Henry Cejudo. If most of you only watched him against Aljo or him against Merab Dvalishvili, you have to see what his earlier work was like. He was a very intelligent guy, also in his prime, whereas Figgy is outside of it, okay? You got Figgy, who prepared for his fight camp against Cody Garbrandt and Marlon Chito Vera with the Pitbull brothers overseas in Brazil. Patrick Pitbull, his brother, okay? An incredible fight camp, whereas now he's in northern Brazil in his own camp, his own MMA studio, his academy. And that should say a few numbers here, besides his age and all. All right, so the way you can see this technically playing out is very simple. So you have Yan, right, who likes to duck off the center line and explode on Figgy, right? Something he could do, right? Poised with all his other fights. It's what he does, right? And then you have the volume. The volume is something that plays well into his game, as his high guard protects him defensively. And if, Figgy's trying to come over the top, how's he going to penetrate Petr Yan with that footwork, with that speed? You also have to recall that Petr Yan is incredible, has great trips from the clinch. All right, so technically a storyline to it and all the money in the world. I'm giving you 3 things to consider if you're going to bet Deiveson Figueiredo. All right, folks? And so we move on now. We got Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci. And the way I see it, like I mentioned earlier, Tabitha Ricci by submission. What Mackenzie Dern could not get done, she will get done. Tabitha Ricci's got a black belt in judo, black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's earned it from an incredible mentor, powerful, notable BJJ expert. He's got his own gym, Paragon MMA, over in Santa Barbara, California. Look him up. Okay, now she's overdue for a submission too. So if you like sniping lines, I highly recommend. All right, so to me, this is one of the easiest bets on this card, and that's all she wrote, folks. Folks, we're interjecting real quick. I'm going to share our bets from the UFC Fight Night between Neil Magny and Prats. So what we did was we took Prats, we took John Jones, Bo Nickel, Rainer de Ritter, and we put that on a 4-leg parlay. Actually, not Rainer de Ritter. Actually, we usually go for a statistical probability of finish. We took Mansour Abdul Malik. All right, that was a 4-legger parlay. And we also took Jillian Robertson and Damone Blackshear. We cashed that parlay. Okay, for a longer sheet, we busted. All right, so we had 3 plays. All right, we cashed 2 of them. All right, incredible. All right, so there we go, 66%. And then for this fight card, we cashed Court McGee, Marcin Tybura, and then the Karine Silva parlay and Michael Chandler complete bust. Moving into this fight card, and we're taking an incredible straight bet, plus money, 2 big plus money, plus 200 odds, over plus 200 odds for each straight bet. And we have an incredible parlay, will not fail, just like UFC Fight Night, Neil Magny and Prats. And we do like doing that, right? Because the lines are available. And I'm talking about how we would take Prats to kill the variance there, right? And move a parlay into 2 events between a pay-per-view and a fight night. Parlay that, lock that in for more legs. Mansour, Prats, Bo Nickel, John Jones. I mean, this is an undeniable parlay. Undeniable. You can't. Inevitable. All right. So if you want more information, all you have to do is visit proschmobets.com. If you want the bets, the summary for every single line, every single fight on this fight card, Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. All right, let's continue. As we move down, we have Son Kenan, Muslim Salikov. So much could be said about this. So much could be said about it. I like Son Kenan. He's a good striker. However, you're facing a guy like Muslim Salikov, who, my God, is just as good a striker, if not better, because he has a level change to him. All right, he gains top control on his opponents. He scores points. He knocks people out. All right, folks. So as crazy as his spinning wheel kick is, and notably that is what got him signed to the UFC, I believe in this fight he could put a number on Son Kenan. When he fought Jing Li, the Leech in Li Jing Liang, he got clipped, and that's all she wrote. When he fought Randy Brown, Muslim Salikov was looking great until the eye poke, and that's when Randy Brown exercised the combination, and he started gaining on Muslim Salikov, and that's all she wrote too. So I feel like Muslim Salikov, folks thought he could bite off more than he can chew, but that's just not the case. All right. So with that said, I also believe that Son Kenan might be about the same age as Muslim Salikov. All right, 40 years of age. You know how these birth certificate things go. All right. So moving on, we have Wang Kang against Gabriela Fernandez. This is a great fight, man. Wang Kang is a great prospect. All right. Now, she is a great striker. Nonetheless, I think that she was bull rushing her opponents to a great signature and a contract with the UFC. So, her head never being off the center line, always being upright. Her chin is something that I think a fighter like Natalia Silva in the future, or Rose Namajunas can exploit here. All right. So I know Wang Kang has aspirations about facing Shevchenko here, and ambition to get there is pretty evident from all her posts. Other than that, she's an incredible fighter. If you didn't know, she faced Olympic medalists, silver, gold in China, as she was only in the amateur ranks in boxing. And, she won those fights. She did a number on Olympians. I like Gabrielle Fernandez too. She's got power. The thing is that Kang does have grappling, whereas Fernandez is like this past weekend's Denise, right, against Marcin Tybura, a fish out of water there. On when she's on her back, it's over, right? There's no coming back from that. So terrible takedown defense. All right, here we go. Volkan Ozdemir versus Carlos Ulberg. Ozdemir, his incredible career. Don't want to take anything from him because he is rather undersized. His frame, his torso, just incredibly wide, and it's how he makes light heavyweight. Carlos Ulberg is just an oversized light heavyweight. He's overdue. I think they want to match make this striker in the future with Rakic and Jiri and Jamal Hill over Volkan. And that's all she wrote. So this is Carlos Ulberg's fight to win. Those calf kicks are, I mean, this is all coming in handy, especially with Ozdemir's boxing. So keeping him at range, and hopefully you could finish him. If Carlos makes a statement on Volkan, that would be great, man. All right, we're moving on. Zhang MingyangZhang. Man, this guy's a piece of work. This guy, Ozzy Diaz, man. Ozzy Diaz made a name for himself knocking out opponents at the LFA. You know, I think that he got lucky. He finds it very difficult to get into range, but it is what it is. You know, sometimes this game is one of a puncher's chance. Zhang MingyangZhang, good boxing combinations, man. His strike sequences, very accurate down the middle, powerful. You should see that fight he had with, man, he got an eye poke to Ribeiro. Look at this guy right here, the Brazilian. Man, that Brazilian man was working Ming. And Ming tried to get the referee's attention. Told him, "Hey, brother, I really need you to, call this eye poke. I need some time to pause here and gather my thoughts." And ref ignored him through and through. And Ming Young, seconds later, not kidding, watch the tape, knocked out Ribeiro. All right, folks. So I'm not going through the prelims. Self-explanatory. Find the Asian fighter, and this is the new wave of winners. All right. So in the future, but I do want to touch on Jose Ochoa, Loner Kavanaugh. We have Jose Ochoa as our underdog of the week. Incredible striker with troop books. Loner Kavanaugh, I think he's a little too undersized for flyweight, and I just think that his punches, his strike sequences, his combinations will be a little too difficult to align on someone like Jose Ochoa. Jose Ochoa is a big flyweight, man. You could even consider him a bantamweight, and he's able to preserve that power, folks. He can keep that power. All right, keep that power at flyweight. I can't believe it. I'll give you one more. Nicholas Mota. Mota's powerful, guys. He's strong, right? He's knocked out his opponents, and his previous fight the same. Here's the thing, though. His range, man, trying to get his opponent, especially with Mahashev, who is as tall as the trees, will be very difficult. Mahashev is definitely the side here. Nicholas Mota's arm reach, he just relies too much on the power. His grappling, not good. This is going to be a jab fest for Mahashev until he finishes. Very young. Like I said, we're in with the new, out with the old here. All right, UFC Fight Night. Petr Yan versus Figgy. Man, I like this. This is good. Highlighting the Chinese fighters. All right. Man, humble beginnings.